podcast episode is brought to you by Alpha Affiliates. Alpha Affiliates are an industry-leading iGaming advertiser with a portfolio of 13 diverse and unique brands for affiliates to promote. Since its launch in 2012, Alpha Affiliates has continued to expand into new markets, working with over 15,000 affiliate partners across 38 countries worldwide. Alpha Affiliates is on a mission to become a world-leading affiliate program. Join their affiliate program and earn up to 50% revenue share commission today. Turn your marketing expertise into profit at alpha-affiliates.com.
You're listening to the Affiliate Marketing Podcast, brought to you by affiliversemedia.com, the chapter and verse of everything you need to know about running a successful affiliate program for your business. This is a podcast for digital and affiliate marketers, publishers, networks, agencies, and MarTech providers who operate, support, or manage affiliate marketing programs around the globe. If you want to launch, scale, and grow a successful affiliate marketing program, you're in the right place. In this podcast, you'll learn how affiliate and partner marketing is constantly changing, and tune in to industry experts who are getting behind our mic to share tactical insights and practical knowledge to help your affiliate program grow. Here, you'll discover what's new and trending in affiliate and performance marketing, how to run your affiliate program successfully, and gain industry insights from experts and practitioners from around the globe. The truth is, you simply won't find this information anywhere else. Now here's your award-winning affiliate and performance marketing host, an industry veteran, your affiliate marketing guide, and the founder of Affiverse, Leanne Johnston.
Welcome to this week's Affiliate Marketing Podcast with me, Leanne Johnston, and joining me today are two very special individuals. You might also hear that they've got a similar accent to me. They're based out in South Africa, and they are part of an agency called Vegas Kings, but I'll hand over to Adrian and Stuart to introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about what Vegas Kings does, and then we'll get into the nuts and bolts of how to build successful campaigns for your affiliate programs that affiliates are going to love and want to promote to their customers. So let's start off with Stuart and then Adrian.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you, Leanne. I'm Stuart Allen. I'm the managing director and a partner here at Vegas Kings. We are an iGaming design, web design and development company. We've been around for the last 24 years, nearly approaching on 25, and we deal exclusively in iGaming. So what we do is we build brands, we build the logos, everything up, anything creative. So everything from your website to your mailers, to your banners, to your landing pages, anything creative, billboards, we do social videos, anything that the client needs creative-wise. And we also do development. So we build custom front ends for operators, and we also then integrate onto various different platforms, and we build sports books and casinos and media outlets partners as well. So yeah, we encompass quite a wide spectrum of services.
Which is exactly why I've got you on this call today, because we're going to talk all about the psychology of design. Adrian, give us a quick snapshot of who you are, how you got into design and creativity, and then we'll kick off this cost show.
Sure. So I've been part of Vegas Kings for almost 8 years now, but my design journey started about 14 years prior to that. So I've been in the industry for quite a while from a design point of view. And it started in more corporate sort of background and then slowly transitioned over into the iGaming space.
So iGaming is really interesting. If you're tuning in and you're not in the iGaming industry, I just want to say that what we're going to be talking about today transcends all industries, because we're going deep into the kind of nuts and bolts behind what makes good creative design and how to actually leverage some of the things that Adrian and Stuart are going to be talking about to really amp up the performance of your campaign and help your affiliate partners to actually convert. So every great campaign starts with a brief. Like everybody that's working in affiliate marketing, they'll start with, we need to run a promotion or a campaign. And I think sometimes where the disconnect happens is where the affiliate manager is going, we need a promotion. And when it comes to the design team, that brief is sometimes grossly inadequate. And then what results is something that isn't really kind of what everybody was looking for. So we're not taught any of this stuff in Affiliate Management 101. And what I wanted to do was start this podcast episode with the basics of how to create a really great brief and get you guys to actually teach us this. So tell me, what is a good brief? How do you create it so that your design team can deliver exactly what you need? And maybe I'll start with you, Alan, because you've been in the industry 24 years. So plenty of briefs have come past your desk.
Yeah, so I mean, that's an interesting one because a brief is very subjective. Sometimes we don't even get briefs from clients, and because we're the experts, we're like, please just go ahead and do it. So what we often find is that, the more information and the more detail you can provide, the better. So for example, if you do have examples of, I really love this, or I really don't like that, the more information is always the better. There's no specific format or template, I would say. When we're running a banner campaign for a client that we've been working with for 10 years, we kind of know their brand and we know exactly what they want to do. So their briefs are always pretty much the same because we know we've got to do X amount of sizes and we need to know that it's got to be this kind of game or these kind of game characters. But when it's a new client and we haven't ever worked with people, we don't really understand what it is that you're trying to achieve and what the goal is specific to your campaign or what it is. So to clearly define what are the objectives, what is the outcome, is it a sign-up offer, or is it a bonus, or are you trying to promote? What are you trying to promote? And then it kind of comes down to the imagery as well. What kind of imagery do you want? What is your market? So as much information as possible allows us to still be the creative and the experts of the creative, but we need that information in order to understand what it is you want. Otherwise, we're going to waste time guessing and going down paths and not necessarily hitting what you've got in the back of your mind as what you want. So, briefs, like you said, they can come in different formats, but as long as they're in detail and they've got the right amount of info for us.
So the kind of detail that you want, you want the kind of nuts, you want the operational detail that I want this size, I need it to be placed here, I'm going to be using it as a landing page, a banner, the type of creative that you want. But you also need examples. So examples in terms of what the client likes and what the client doesn't like. And I guess also the brand guide, because whatever you create, even if it is something new, it still needs to match whatever the continuity of their overall branding is.
Exactly. I mean, if we're forming a campaign from scratch and we're starting it, yes, 100% the brand guide, if there is going to be branding on it, or if you want it to be brand agnostic, if there's certain different colors. So that is definitely a plus with new clients if we don't know them already. And then, like I said, examples. If we know where your positioning is going to be placed, or your banner is going to be put, we'd like to look at that competitor's page and see what we're going to be competing against to make sure that it shines above the rest, all that kind of stuff. So also just thinking about it, what we also do is we get an initial brief or, a request from a client. And what we find is that we send back quite a few questions, and there's almost a round of a Q&A, maybe one or two, to kind of draw out exactly what it is that we need to do. So, even though if you don't get the brief right up front, we'll draw that out of you through a Q&A process at the beginning.
Now, often I hear affiliate managers tell me that it's difficult to deal with creatives because obviously affiliate managers are in the nuts and bolts of the data, the day-to-day, the kind of relationship building, but they're not necessarily creative people themselves because that's not part of the job. Some affiliate managers are creative and they are quite marketing focused, but others aren't. They're more data-driven and sales-driven and relationship-driven. So, Adrian, I'm going to come to you because you're obviously the person that gets the brief and interprets it. Like, how do you deal with people that aren't creative? How do you actually pull out that information? And what kind of tips can you give to people when they're writing their briefs to actually get that storyline over to you so that you can interpret it and create something amazing with it?
So I think what the best possible way to start, if we were provided with the key message or the key element or response that they want to get out of people. So that I think is quite a universal language.
Yeah, I think that's a brilliant point because this isn't actually about what you want. It's actually about what you need as a result of what you're asking for, what you want. So I think taking a step back before you write that brief is, what do you actually want this promotion or this campaign to deliver? What are the outcomes? In affiliate marketing, we talk a lot about defining what are the outcomes of this campaign. And the same applies to the creative in that sentence that you've just said, because it's not, I need these banners in this site. It's not the operational stuff that you really need to interpret. It's the, what do we want their reaction to be when somebody sees this stuff?
Correct. So that's all we can kind of, not control, but try and influence a person or a user to respond to. So yes, that's the key element for us to know is, what do you want out of this? And that can help translate the sort of personality differences between a very analytical mind and a very creative mind, and bridge that gap. I think a lot of it is also to do with having very honest and open feedback once you see your initial creative come through. Don't be shy to ask questions, or maybe if you don't understand why certain things look the way they do, just inquire, and most designers will be able to explain the reasoning behind the decisions that they've made. And then you can sort of have a back and forth, and if you're not happy with that decision for whatever reason, then have that conversation with them.
Well, that tells me that designers have to have a really thick skin, because if somebody's telling you that they don't like your baby and what you've made, it can be a little bit tricky,
But also, if I could just add a little bit to that as well, is that it's very rare that we get shared the information of how campaigns actually work, in terms of how well they worked and if this was a success or not. The only kind of gauge that we've really got to go on is, are you coming back to us for more creative? And are we continuing more campaigns for you? They don't ever share. Unfortunately, they don't ever share. So, from our point of view, we would love to know that data of, hey, listen, this campaign didn't work so well. Okay, well then why? And then we can ask the questions, okay, why didn't it work? Is it because of X, Y, Z? We're in a kind of a fortunate position where customers do come back to us regularly for a lot of work. So, and also being at the forefront of design and keeping up with the trends and within our industry and understanding our industry very in depth, we're in a strong position to kind of know that. But it would be amazing, and you don't have to share heavy numbers, but just in terms of things went wrong. Because we also, in a longevity as well, we want to make sure campaigns keep running and do well and do their job, at the end of the day.
Yeah. So feedback's very important two ways. Well, first, in getting the right campaign brief sorted and getting the results that you want from the creative that you've asked for, but also then feeding back whether that worked or didn't work, because then you can take those iterations and actually move them forward into the next campaign. Now, you touched on quite a lot of stuff around the psychology of design and best practices, and I want you guys to walk us through some of the basics around this that relates to promo design, landing pages, email headers, banners, like the typical stuff that affiliate managers are really asking for. What are the things that are working well right now that you guys see? Because obviously you're working across a broad spectrum of different types of clients in the gaming industry, but do the basic things still apply? Are they still the things that work today? Making sure that your CTA is clear, making sure that there's not too many words on a banner. Like, what are some of the best practices that you would want to see affiliate managers kind of adhere to in their promotional campaigns and creative design requests?
So, I would say that for sure, there's certain rules that still apply, since day one, and have kind of come over from print days even, and that's things like consistency with your branding, how you present yourself, the fonts you use, your brand colors. And I suppose that all kind of comes from the style guide and having a brand guide that you share with people who are going to work on your banners and creative work for you. I think what's becoming more important, or more so over the last decade or so, is just very high quality imagery, both from a kind of resolution quality point of view, but also just very high standards. Gives off the impression that your brand is a bit more trustworthy. And, I think we all associate bad quality image, both in resolution and composition, as being like a bit fishy. Everyone's, very suspicious of anything that isn't looking very sharp and clean and clear. So that would be something to take into consideration. I think also your use of color.
So just extrapolate on that. extrapolate on the use of color. What colors are good colors? What colors are bad colors? Because remember, affiliate managers, they're not taught the 101 of design. This is why we've got you guys on here, is to actually dig into the what's good and what's bad and why that is. So let's talk about colors a little bit, because I think that's important.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say there's good and bad colors, but there's obviously good and bad usage of colors in certain situations. There's certain colors that, of course, give a bit of an emotional response, like bright, vivid, what we would say is the primary colors, like reds and greens and blues and things like that. And then I suppose it depends on which avenue you're in. If you're in sort of more healthcare, then you're leaning more towards greens and elements of healing, and it evokes sort of feelings and thoughts like that. Whereas, us in the iGaming industry, for instance, we quite driven by, or try to drive people through excitement. So it's a lot more reds and oranges and purples and bright, kind of almost neon colors. So it's a very open-ended questions. There's a lot of research and stuff that's done with this, and I suppose this can be something that I would encourage people to have a conversation with their creative team, whoever they end up using. To go back to my point earlier about having that conversation and let us ask the question, can you let us know, why did you choose these colors? What are you hoping to get out of the user when they see it? So things like that.
So it's really about open communication with your design team to actually figure out what the best course of action is. Because the other thing to remember as an affiliate manager is that you're not designing for your own personal taste. You're designing for your customers who are completely different to you. And sometimes that gets lost in translation as well. I know, because I've done that, where I've gone, I want it to look like this. And the design team has come back and said, no, it needs to look like this. And then I'm like, no, but I don't like that. And I don't want to make it live. And then you actually find out that it works because the customers love it. And so it's difficult to kind of have that separation of what you want, what the designer thinks is good best practice, using, colors, imagery, whatever it is that they've decided is a good place to start, and then ultimately what your customers resonate with. And the other thing as well is that, just staying on best practice, are there any short tips that you can give affiliate managers of like a quick checklist of making sure that whatever a designer has given them is kind of meeting the mark in terms of best practice and design? Because I think that would be quite interesting to share.
Yeah, I think things that would stand out to us immediately, if we even checking our own work internally within the team, is, again, going back to that consistency. So you want to make sure that if you're getting multiple creatives, if you look across all of them, they're all using the same fonts, for instance. You're not having one, unless that was a very specific instruction you gave where you want to do some very hectic A/B testing, and you're even going down to different font usage, which we wouldn't really encourage. If that's part of your brand, stick to what you have. The sizing of elements. So is there a consistent presentation of the CTA, of your branding and logo? Is there, again, your color usage? Is it the consistency there that all leads the customer to just feeling that familiarity and comfort when they see the brand, they know the brand. It's not like, oh, suddenly this is looking quite a bit different. I think also just in terms of what you provide designers with in terms of your copy and things like that, that even the voice, the tone of voice, all of that sort of stuff is related to your brand and doesn't suddenly veer off and become, just something very different, because all of these things can contribute to having a bit of a psychological wobble from the user going, well, this is, not the brand that I recognize and trust, and so on.
I also think that messaging is very important. So, like you're saying, in a checklist, is my messaging correct? And also, is there space? You don't want a design that's cluttered, because people don't like too much cluttered. So less is definitely more in design. It's so much better, because you need the breathing room. You need it to read well. If you're going to bombard a page with so much text, and we often find we get asked to put up 2 or 3 line sentences on a banner. I'm like, well, you can't do that, maybe 3 words, So it's very important because if we think of, I always mention about banners, but if you're looking at a site that's got 4 or 5 different banners, you're competing against that. You need to be able to stand out. You need to be able to be legible. And you need the user to be able to understand and know just by a look over what you're trying to achieve. And then obviously the attraction to that to be like, oh, I want to click there, you know? So that's also very important that it's given the space and it's given the room to be able to really show what you need to do and not overcluttered.
So actually, that's a good point, because I want to drop in from the affiliates perspective now, because, okay, we've kind of taught affiliate managers now in the first half of this podcast the kind of psychology behind design, how to create a really good brief so that it gets met by your design team and it's clear and easy to understand. And what I might do is actually just link a really easy creative briefing form that maybe you guys can help us outline for people that are listening to this, so that it can actually help them make sure that their design team gets everything that they need. But right now, what I want to do is flip it on its head and go, okay, for publishers, for affiliates listening to this podcast, because we do speak to both audiences, what are some of the things that affiliates need to be aware of in terms of design when they are taking operators' banners or advertisers' banners and actually deciding which banners would work best on their site? Because as you said, an affiliate page could have multiple different pieces of content, multiple different banners on. How do they make sure that they're doing right by their advertiser to actually place them in the right places or use these banners in the right context? Because you could have a beautifully designed banner that is, fantastic, on brand, has a great, strong message, but it won't work in the affiliate site. Maybe they've hosted it themselves, squashed it down, repurposed it themselves in a different placement, and it doesn't look good. So how do you sort of suggest that affiliates work with design concepts that are being given to them and promotional concepts? What are some of the best practices that affiliates should do before they put the banner on their page or consider which banner to take?
Yeah, look, I mean, that's always difficult because obviously a lot of the creatives get given by the brand. We find a lot of times that they are just shoved up there. There's no signals. It's because it's a certain brand and we're going to put that up there, and it doesn't work. So, I know from our side is that brands don't, as long as you stick within their guidelines, we can repurpose that banner to fit. Okay. So it's always good affiliates need to know where they're going to be putting it. So if it's going to be a certain size, you also need to make sure that it's going to respond, because a lot of people are on mobiles. A lot of traffic comes from mobile. So, what would work on a desktop might look beautiful, but also on the system side, if the system doesn't allow for a new banner to be shown instead of a different one when it's on mobile, you've got to maybe see, okay, well, if my traffic's predominantly mobile, rather put a mobile banner up there. If you don't have the option to do both, rather put a mobile banner up there, because the majority of my traffic's from mobile, and at least it gets shown nicely there, as opposed to the other way around. Let's shove a big web banner up there, and then on mobile, it's so small that you can't read it.
That's a great point. That's a great point, because a lot of programs don't actually design mobile-friendly banners. They only put web-based banners up in their programs in the networks. And you need to be thinking about that. You need to be catering for all different types of partners now in your program too. I mean, for example, a video, an influencer or a content creator who might want to show a product demo or a video, all of that kind of stuff needs to be thought about. Is this going to be viewed on your mobile? Is it going to be viewed on your website? The other thing that I wanted to point out about affiliates as well is, you mentioned that point of breathing space. So I'm one of those people that you would hate to work with, because I hate white space. I don't want to see white space on a website. And I think my website is proof of that. It's like busy. Obviously, we're a publication, so that's okay. But like an affiliate site, the reason why this is important and why I wanted to bring you guys on board is because an affiliate could be doing an amazing job at driving traffic to their landing page or to their website. But then when the customer lands there, what they see doesn't match with the precursor work that the affiliate's done to get them, and then the conversion doesn't work. And that isn't necessarily the operator or the advertiser's fault. It is actually the decision-making process that the affiliate takes in terms of how they make that page look and what banners they put in different places. So the white space argument, let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's also important what gets shown above the fold as opposed to below the fold. And and it all boils down to what you're trying to do, like we've said before. So are you trying to get 1 million clicks to 1 million different places, or are you trying to drive traffic to one specific place more so over others? And it's about rearranging the page according to what you need to do. So if you aren't getting conversions and of the stuff that's above the fold, why is that? Is that because it's too cluttered or it's too empty? Or you're not showing the right message, or you're not appealing to the right demographic? Or, there's lots of different questions, of which, obviously when we build homepages or we build landing pages, all of that comes in mind. And those are the kind of questions that we ask affiliates. Okay, what is the primary objective here? Are you wanting to have your full reviews of 100 different casinos and sportsbooks kind of thing, or different products? What is is there a primary product that you want to push? So it's all of those kind of things. And that also then helps us from the design and layout perspective of how to actually achieve that. Making sure that the CTA, the call to action, is there, nice, clear, defined, and above the fold. You can't have it below. So, and that's on mobile as well.
Yeah, because often, we also are a publisher, so we log into other people's affiliate programs and we pull banners and put them on our sites and stuff as well. But often what I'll see is beautifully designed banners with lovely messages and no call to action, which really is useless to me, because if I can't convert somebody off of that picture, I'm not interested in putting it up on my site. So the call to action thing is kind of a biggie not to forget about. But that's also the difference between using a designer that works on acquisition, which is kind of what you guys do, which is why I wanted to bring you onto this podcast. So your whole focus in the design that you create for clients is about acquiring new sales, versus a design team that perhaps designs for brand, and I think that's important as well when you're thinking about a supplier, when you're hiring a contractor or whatever it is that you're going to do to create your promotions. You need to be dealing with a team that's experienced in the outcome that you are looking for, which is to bring in more sales. Ultimately, that's what we're doing here in affiliate marketing.
100%. Everyone's a designer. Everyone can design. There's also, I won't go too deep into it, but there's all AI now. Everyone can build a website, but to have that knowledge of and the expertise of, like you say, of converting, because that's what we're in this game for, is conversions. So if you can go get something designed beautifully, it's just not going to work because it's not focused. So, and that's where, our experience as well in our specific field, that's why it works, because we understand that.
Okay, so my question to you now is, if we had a variety of affiliates or affiliate managers in a room, what are the big trends, ideas, and tips that you could share with them to get their campaigns optimized for maximum performance in relation to what they look like and how they make customers feel? And especially considering that people's attention spans from 10 years ago to now have shortened to a matter of seconds. So what are the big tips that you can give to people to say, if you want to make empowering promotions for your affiliates to push out to their audiences that bring customers to you, what are the 3 big tips that you need to take away from this episode today?
I can touch on some of them if you want, Adrian, to begin with. It's basically, so first and foremost, before any tips, you've got to understand the market that you're talking to. For us in our experience, if we deal with a global client base, so the kind of things that we deal with in America are completely different to what we deal with in Europe and UK and in Africa and Japan. Completely different markets. So, for India, black and bling really work well, whereas doesn't really work well in the UK market. But in America is nice and bold and striking and, just a stronger presence, primary colors, a lot cleaner than, so it's 100% market related of exactly where you're going. So that's the first part. And then, the trends that we've seen is, we've kind of touched on it, but there's striking imagery, it's nice and colorful, and it's clean, it's got space. Sorry, Leanne, it's got space. But that's what I've got to say. Adrian, anything?
Yeah, I would say that to the attention span side of things, messaging needs to be super condensed and concise and to the point. You want to, whatever the offer is or a new product, whatever you're selling needs to be, it's almost like an elevator pitch on steroids. It's very to the point. You got to, within a second, a person needs to know what they're looking at.
And that's incredibly hard. It's incredibly hard to summarize your product, your service, your offer, your whatever, your secret sauce, whatever it is that you want your customer to convert to, down into a second. It's really hard to do that.
look at it as a funnel. So if you need to grab their attention, and if you then need to take that customer down a journey in terms of, you need them to buy into more, don't try to buy them into everything on the first sight. You need to get them in. So get them in short points. If they're interested, then they can read more and be shown more. Maybe take them to down the page, or if there's a banner, take them to a landing page where there's more information. So create that funnel of the user journey. But in the beginning, it needs to just be shortened to the point, because otherwise no one will.
So that's a really great point for affiliates, because, for them, sometimes what they'll do is just put all the banners one after the other on the page. I mean, I still see sites like that, not many, but I do. And actually, that's just confusing me now, because now I'm getting there and I'm like, which banner do I need to look at? And they're all flashing and they're all looking at me. And so I just bounce off the page because I can't decipher what I need to do. So maybe it would be, one banner that then leads to a review, that then leads to a video demo, that then leads to, okay, here's the offer, thanks for watching, kind of thing. So really think about, I love that customer funnel idea. I think that's a great idea to actually also map out what you need from your creative brief. If you start with the outcome and map it back and say, well, how are we going to get these people at all the different touch points in their journey? That's going to really help you to do that brief, and then obviously add in the white space, because you want them to not be crazy when they get to the page. Okay, so what are the kind of like new trends that you're seeing happening in design that are changing, considering that we're now working across multiple different platforms? It's not just web and mobile anymore. It's now web and TikTok and Facebook, and all of these different platforms have different mechanics that they use to engage and, solicit interest from customers. What are some of the trends that you're seeing changing in design for the years that are coming? And with all of this AI, do you think there's just going to be a tsunami of creative that's going to get flooded out into the marketplace, or are there very clear specific things that we need to be looking for and doing or trying?
Yeah, so I'll jump in here. The AI thing is going to create a lot of noise. It's super helpful if, like Stuart mentioned earlier, it's being used with the background knowledge of the, very important conversion metrics and things we need to keep in mind when we're designing a campaign from top to bottom. But given its ease of use and accessibility, it is going to enable a lot of people that don't have that background and don't have that understanding to just, flood the market with a lot of noise. I would just call it noise. So to counter that, I would say that the quality is going to need to be stepped up quite a lot from those who are approaching it from a more professional standpoint. And that's not to take away anything from somebody who's trying to run an entire business on their own and doing their own marketing. I would just suggest that if they do a bit of research on some of these things we've talked about today, like call to action placement, sharp messaging, all of that sort of stuff. In order to expand on that quality thing, I think it would be perhaps utilizing AI to your advantage, where it helps you create images and concepts more quickly, but then, spend the time to really polish that to a point that just outcompetes anything that's, slapped together in 5 minutes, which these AI things allow you to do. I think obviously motion-driven advertising, so video, short format types of campaigns have become, way more ubiquitous now than they used to be. I think it obviously helps that 5G is coming out now and spreading around, and that's super quick internet that no matter where you are on your device, you can download video and high quality sort of long format stuff if that's what you're into as well. So I think there's a shift that's going to continue to happen, and I think the static side of things is going to fall away a little bit from my point of view. But I think going back full circle to where we started, that there are just certain design rules, you could say, that are going to be with us, I think, for the rest of time. They were discovered a long time ago, and they're just going to stay with us. The colors, brand consistency, all of that sort of stuff, I believe is just a good foundation to then build on and try and meet up with these trends that change from year to year.
Because one of the things that I've seen as well is these really cool banners that are on Facebook, for example, and they just jump out of the actual space of where the banner is. And do you find, is it everything in its own place and in its own time? Or can it all just can you use those things in the wrong places and it can actually be detrimental because it's intrusive, it breaks the user journey, or is it clever? What's your opinion on those types of things?
I think right now that seems, from our point of view, it's almost like in an experimental phase. I think you wouldn't know for sure until you try, and perhaps that's part of a testing style approach, and just see, do you get more conversion from something that's so like in your face? I think it's also brand dependent. It depends on what you're trying to sell. Certain things maybe, for our line of work, certainly that could be a good way of presenting your brand. But other brands, perhaps, spas and treatments like that is maybe more chill. So you don't want to be like surprising people with a sudden pop out.
Yeah, because I've seen a lot of games developers do that. They've got little videos, and then the kind of, I don't know my son's got a name for it, that character actually jumps out and starts walking around your screen and stuff. And it is a little bit disconcerting for oldies like me, but yeah, it's like a takeover. And I think people, they actually get annoyed by that. Well, I get annoyed by it. I don't know if different age groups, embrace it or not. But I think that's also a really key point about design, is who are you designing for, which is the point that you said at the beginning, because that would impact, even age has an impact on your design, I would imagine, because older people resonate with the internet differently to how younger people do. All right. Well, that has been incredibly insightful. It has been super interesting to understand the psychology behind design. Hopefully, this is going to help a lot of affiliate managers get a little bit closer to their design teams and to kind of align in terms of what they want as their outcomes and what they want their creative designers to create for them. So thank you so much for being on this podcast with me this week. It's been super helpful, and really looking forward to seeing, how people in our community can maybe get in touch with you and improve their design concepts and convert more customers, because that's what we do here in affiliate marketing. So thank you so much for being on the podcast with me this week, guys. Want to amplify your affiliate program performance? The Amplify Summit is the only affiliate marketing event you need to attend to stay ahead of affiliate trends in 2024. You'll get no sales pitches, just honest advice and answers from industry experts to the questions that you have about affiliate program marketing. Get ready to save the date in your diary as we bring you the biggest and best Amplify Summit yet. Taking place on the 19th and 20th of March 2024, we'll be giving you the inside scoop on how to amplify your affiliate program and partner performance. Plus, book an on-demand ticket for £49 and you'll gain exclusive access to masterclasses, personal group coaching sessions, and all-important Ask Me Anything sessions with real live industry experts who will show and tell you how to implement new tactics that drive consistent results. Get your ticket to join us at Amplify now. Visit affiversemedia.com and click the button marked Amplify Summit to register.
That's a wrap for this week's Affiliate Marketing Podcast. If you're loving what we're putting down, why not head over to Apple iTunes and give us a 5-star review? Make sure to subscribe to our podcast and our YouTube channel so you never miss another insightful episode or one of our free webinars ever again. Tune in next week for more digital affiliate marketing insights, trends, tips, and content to keep your affiliate and performance marketing fresh and your partners driving consistent sales.